Shut the fuck up. Thank you, what a lovely welcome. I'm going to try my hardest tonight. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Rick, relax. We've already done his worth just seeing you. What? You're a legend. Shut up. Why is he? I'm not a god. Why is that? I'm just an ordinary guy, you know, going around talking to people. Sort of like Jesus, in a way, but better. Well, I've actually turned up. Thank you and welcome to Show Humanity. I don't know why I called it. I'm not a big fan. I prefer dogs, obviously. Dogs are better people than people, aren't they? They're amazing dogs. They're our best friends. They guard us, they guide us. There's medical detection dogs that can smell if you've got, like, AIDS. I'm not a doctor, but their noses are like 1,000 times more sensitive than ours. So they sort of go, "Poor, you're well HIV." Fuck, you know. And you go, "You can smell AIDS on some." Yeah. Then why didn't you smell it on the bloke I brought home last night then, you fucking idiot? They did the first 3 billion years by themselves, and all that. And then we got involved, did a bit of selective breeding, you know, getting them how we wanted them to do jobs for us, you know, a bit more of that, a bit stronger, faster, whatever. And they're great at the jobs they're bred to do. And they love the job they're bred to do because they're genetically hardwired to love that behaviour anyway. Although the Rhodesian Ridgeback was bred to hunt lions. And I can't help but think that was a little bit of a shock to it when it found out. So we've done all the breeding, all the different pedigrees, all thousands, all around a big passing out parade. There's a bloke in a square with a white coat and a clipboard, and he goes, "Right, dogs." And they all go, what? Who wants to know what jobs they've got? We all do. Right. Okay, Labrador. Yeah? Do you like carefully bringing back dead ducks? Yeah. That's your job. Amazing, that is amazing. That is my favourite job. That is my favourite job. Jack Russell, in down rabbit holes. Yeah. That's your job. Fucking hell, best day ever. Best day ever. Miniature poodles, yeah? Do you like being carried around by elderly homosexuals? Yeah. That's your job. That's your job. Backs, yo. You're hunting lions. What? You're hunting lions. Fuck off. Yeah, you are. No, we're not. Lions? We get fucking mashed. Why can't Rottweilers hunt lions? They're shaking babies. Good boy. Good boy. You shake that baby if you want. Good boy. Cheers. So yeah, this is my first new stand-up show in years, if you don't count the Golden Globes. The Golden Globes, very different. Oh God, different vibe. 200 million people watching around the world, and it's live, you know, big thrill. But with that many people watching, there comes a bit of stick. Everyone's different. Everyone's a blogger. Everyone goes, "I was offended." Oh. Why? He said an horrible thing. We said loads of horrible things. Yeah, but that was a thing that I care about. And that's the thing about offence, isn't it? It's about feelings, things are personal. I don't care about the so-called backlash, you know, comedian in hot water. Ooh, you know. But my girlfriend Jane, she does worry a bit, and she reads things. Oh, why are they right? What have you said? Why? I go, don't worry about it. They're not coming to the house. Fuck them. So I wind her up. I pretend I'm going to say much worse things than I ever would. Think of that. I have to make up worse jokes than I actually... just to scare my girlfriend. So when I'm doing the Golden Globes, we go out about a week before. It's in LA. We fly out, right? And I'm writing jokes. The ceremony approaches, and, you know, they release sort of more presenters, and I take my pick. I go, "Oh, yeah, I've got a good intro for them. Yeah, I'll do... Yeah. Mel Gibson. Yeah, I'll introduce him. Yes." And about 3 days before this land, right, just to wind Jane up, I said, "Oh, I've got a good intro." She went, "What?" I said, Bill Cosby would make our next presenter sleep on the couch. Please welcome Helen Mirren." I didn't do it. I didn't do it. She went, "You're not going to do it?" I said, No, I'm not going to do that. Next day, I got her again. I said, is this too much then? I said, not even Bill Cosby carries enough tranquilizer to bring down this next magnificent beast. Please welcome Melissa McCarthy. I didn't do it. I'd never tell a joke like that. It's horrible. I was just doing it to annoy Jane. I'd never think of that. So don't... Even on the day, on the way to the red carpet, we're in the limo, just to wind her up, I said, oh, I'm going to start off with a funny little one-liner, just an old-fashioned joke. She went, oh, what? I said, what did the deaf, dumb and blind orphan get for Christmas? And Jane went, I don't know. I said, cancer. I didn't do it. So you're getting offended at a joke that doesn't exist. So I'd never say that in public. So to anyone who mattered. Anyway, so don't... Whereas I didn't have to worry about offending anyone because it just happened, so... The big controversy last time I did it was a Caitlyn Jenner joke. Oh, outrage on Twitter the next day. And by outrage, I mean a couple of people... It was transphobic. It wasn't transphobic in the slightest. It was a joke about a trans person, but the joke had nothing to do with that aspect of her existence. And that's the other thing about offence. People get offended when they mistake the subject of a joke with the actual target, and they're not necessarily the same. I'll tell you the joke. You make your own minds up. Right. So... It's live, so they go, and now your host for the 68th Annual Golden Globe Awards, please welcome Ricky Gervais. They go, and they're all clapping, all the actors are looking up, smiling at me nervously. It's brilliant, right? So I just go, relax, I'm going to be nice tonight. I've changed. Not as much as Bruce Jenner, obviously. And I go, now Caitlyn Jenner, of course, and what a year she's had. Became a role model for trans people everywhere, bravely breaking down barriers and destroying stereotypes. She didn't do a lot for women drivers. That's a clever joke, and I'll tell you what, right? It's late. No, listen, right? The subject of that joke is stereotypes. I'm with the notion of stereotypes, right? So I start off saying, she's a real woman. Some would say a liberal, progressive attitude. And I go, oh, if she's a real woman, I hit them with the old-fashioned reactionary stereotype. She must be a bad driver then, right? And the target of the joke is a celebrity killing someone in their car. Let's not forget that, shall we? A celebrity killing someone in their car, running home and popping on a dress. That's the target of the joke, just so we're clear, OK? She was interviewed about a week later at some press conference for a show she was launching, now cancelled. And the press were around, and one of them, what do you think of the Ricky Gervais joke? And she went, maybe I should host the Golden Globes, right? And they tweeted that, and they atted me in, because they want a Britty feud, you know? It was clickbait, so I rose to the bait, obviously. I just sent back, let her host, just don't let her drive. Another website that was in the room, Entertainment Weekly, they tweeted a different headline, and they atted me in as well. And their headline was, Caitlyn finally breaks silence over Ricky Gervais. I just sent back, at last. She always breaks too late. Bring it on. Bring it on. But I'm a considered comedian. I like my jokes to be accurate and my targets to be fair. So I was engaging these people. I was saying, why is it transphobic? And they were saying, it's about a trans person. I said, well, that's ridiculous. That's like saying a joke about Bill Cosby is automatically racist. It depends on the joke. But I was talking to them, I'm willing to learn, and I found out my crime was that I dead-named her. Now, I'd never heard that term, you know, before a day after the Golden Globes, and that was saying her old name, and even acknowledging that she used to be a man. But she did. I saw him on the Olympic Games. It was decathlete. It was in everything. He was all over the place. Shot put and pole vault. He won a medal. He was famous. He was on telly all the time. But, you know, big, famous man. A huge, I don't know, but I mean, I'm guessing he probably, he's a big... But I've learnt my lesson. Now, I'd never dead name her now. Now I know it's wrong, I'd never dead name her now. But, like, years ago, when, you know, she was a man, no, it was years ago, I'm saying, right, and she went to the doctor, right, and knocked on the door, and the doctor went, "Come in." This is years ago. I'd never dead name her now, but this is like a flashback before anyone... Do you know what so... Like, come, and he went, "Hello, Bruce Jenner," because that was his name then. The doctor, you know, this was years ago, and the doctor went, "Oh, I'm Bruce Jenner, you big old... How you doing, boy, you fucker, eh? You big old... Oh, how you doing, boy? Come here, you fucker. How you doing, Brucey boy? You all right? Right? And Bruce Jenner, because that was his name, this is years, right? So Bruce Jenner went, "Yeah, not too bad, doctor. Not too bad, right?" I said, "What can I do for you, Bruce?" "Yeah, fucker. How you doing, boy?" And Bruce Jenner went, because that was his name. Bruce Jenner went to that. And went, "Come on, Bruce Jenner, you know the rules." He uses his whole name every time for some reason. I don't know why. "Come on, Bruce Jenner, you fucker, you know the rules. You can't bring your big old pole vaulting pole in here, mate, you know." And Bruce Jenner went, "No, that's not my pole vaulting pole, that's my enormous penis." "Oh, right, yeah, seeing as it is your penis, you can bring it in here, but you should have left your shot puts outside." And Bruce Jenner went, that was his name for 58 years, I think. He went, "No, they're not my shot puts, they're my enormous testicles. That's where I keep my testosterone and my spunk and shit," right? And the doctor went, "Oh, yeah, that makes perfect. I'm a medical man, and that you're a big... You fucker. How you doing, boy? You're a big... You're big, and you would have a big old cock and balls. They're beautiful. They're a bit familiar, isn't it?" And I go, "No, but you must be very proud of them, Bruce." Bruce Jenner went, "Oh, this is going to surprise you, doctor. I want to get rid of them." And the doctor went, "What? Why?" "Oh, they get in the way." "Get in the way of what?" "Fucking driving, for one thing." So I'm engaging these people, but I had to say her old name because that gets me into the joke. I say, "I've not as much as Bruce Jenner," and then I do the actual joke. They went, "No, this is my second crime." I say, "She hasn't changed, right? She's always been a woman because she's always identified as a woman, and that means she's a woman. Fine, if that's the rules, you are what you feel. If you feel you're a woman, that makes you a woman. Cool. You know, I'm not one of these bigots that think having all that is science going too far. You know? In fact, I don't think it's going far enough. Because I've always identified as a chimp. Right? Well, I am a chimp. If I say I'm a chimp, I am a chimp, you know. Pre-op, but... and don't ever dead name me. Don't ever call me Ricky Gervais again. From now on, me Bobo. So, I'm going to have species realignment. I'm half hair, to be honest. I'm sort of short with short legs and long arms. I sort of stoop like that. My back's getting hairier by the day. I've got fangs. I love nuts. Oh, I love nuts. And once, I was at the zoo, and I could tell people would look, so I just started masturbating. So, I am a chimp. I am a chimp, if I say I'm a chimp. I've got to live as a chimp for a year, then have hormones, get me all nice and hairy. That'd be lovely, right? I'm going to stay a male chimp, so I can keep all that, right? A male heterosexual chimp, keep the same girlfriend. Jane will be happy. She loves me. She loves chimps, so, you know. And I reckon that's got to be easier for a man to turn into him. We're so close than for a man to turn into a woman in many ways. You know what I mean? A bit of hair and a bit like that, as opposed to your cock and balls ripped off and a hole gouged out into... No, I'm not a doctor, but that is the gist of it. I know which one I'd rather have done. And I'm not saying I think chimps are better than women. No way. Any ladies here, right? I can't see you, but to me, every single one of you is equal to a chimp. So I'm gonna have all that done. So I'll do all that. I'll do all the... I'll retain the ability to speak English in emergencies. If I'm talking to Jane, I'm going, she's going, "What is it, Bobo? What is it, Bobo? The fucking oven on. There's a fire." What to me that if Caitlyn Jenner was being chased by a wolf, right, and there was a big fence and a long pole, she'd revert. She'd be over that easy. So, how will that done? All that, doing all that, right? I'm legally a chimp. I'll be properly chimped up. Right? I'll be able to use chimp toilets and everything, right? And then I'll be walking along Hampstead High Street, holding Jane's hand. Come on, Bobo. Like that, right? We hold hands now, so I don't know why she's suddenly all over me just because I'm a chimp, right? But we'll be all in love, in matching jumpers. So, walking, come on, Bobo, in love. Just two guys, And then, if a bigot in a white van slows down, goes, that's fucking disgusting. I just fling shit at him and run up a tree. And that's why that joke isn't transphobic, so... Cheers. So, humanity. What is humanity? What are we? Well, we've touched there. We're great apes. Not metaphorically, we're literally great apes. We are 98.6% genetically identical to a chimpanzee. We're closer to chimps than chimps are to gorillas. We left our common ancestor about 6 million years ago. We have the same life cycle. Same life cycle as any other animal, which is our parents mate, we're born, we grow, we mate, our parents die, all our friends die, and then we die. Now, my 7-year-old niece didn't like hearing that, right? But I said, you've got to look. I said, stop crying. I said, you're 7, you know, today. So... any more grisly and this party's cancelled. So let's take the first of those, right? Birth. It's already an odd one for humanity because the human being is born before the end of its natural gestation period. And by that, I mean, because of our evolution, our brain is so big, we have to get that huge head out early. That's why this is in parts and supple, right? And then we have to carry on gestating outside the womb. That's why we're so useless. Come to other mammals, right? A giraffe is walking along. It goes, oh, I'm proper pregnant, right? I'm going to have a baby giraffe right here, right? Yeah, there it is. See you later, right? And the baby goes, can I get it's got to be fucking ready, right? We're helpless, right? Just think of that, right? 9 months, we're just growing in this perfect environment, just like that. Just everything's... It's like being a little Kate Bush video, right? And then suddenly, and you're being squeezed out of an hole near an arse. You're covered in shit, they're screaming. You go, I can't breathe, so you fucking can, right? That's the first 1 second of life on Earth. You don't know where you are, you can't choose where you're born. I was born in a place called Whitley Estate in Reading, right? And no, I wouldn't have chosen that. I'd have chosen Hampstead. I did choose Hampstead, it just took me 45 years to be able to afford it, right? Very different, my upbringing, you know, to how I live now. I know I live a privileged life now. Hampstead's ridiculous. Oh, it's a rarefied place, right? It's just like the grandchildren of poets and painters and me, new money, right? But growing up, it was tough. I don't know what it's like now, but in my day, my estate was really sort of rough and scary. It felt like wildlife. I was weak and vulnerable, right? And there was danger around every corner. The school I went to was on my street, and I ran there every day so I didn't get mugged or molested. And there weren't paedophiles in Reading because the murderers had killed a lot of them, but there was still a couple. I moved to Hampstead. Oh, my God, there's no crime. I saw a knife once in Hampstead. It was a palette knife. Just a bloke just painting, oil painting, in the middle of the street, broad daylight. No one was gobbing on it or calling him Bender. It was weird, right? So, I know my life has changed drastically, but it wasn't always like that. And the reason I'm telling you this, as a famous person, you sort of read about yourself, you know, gossip and, you know, Twitter and everything. And one thing kept cropping up, even when I was preparing for this tour. Oh, he's out of touch. He's so famous. He's rich. He's mega rich. I am. I could have this place burned down for a laugh. No, but they say things like, oh, he's an observational comedian. How can he say things that relate to ordinary scum? And I say... I say, don't call them scum, right? But even the papers, they try and round to it. I do interviews, and they'll always be able to say, oh, do you always fly first class? I go, no, often private. Right? And the number of times I've answered this question, right? They say, do you know how much a pint of milk is? It's meant to make you look out of touch, and I don't know, but that's irrelevant, right? Next time a journalist asks me that, I'm going to say, I don't know, mate, but here's £1,000. Run and get me one, will you? Is that enough? Is that enough? Yeah. Another question that I always get with the posh papers, the Sundays, they're doing a profile piece, and they're still trying to alienate you and make you look different, right? And they always say things like, no, you don't have children. I say, no. I say, why don't you have children? Which is a really odd question to ask someone, why don't you have children? As opposed to asking people, why do you have children, right? Let's ask the fat lady in the leggings why she's had 8, shall we? Oh, 9, that one just fell out. That one didn't even touch the sides or disturb a cigarette. That one, boom. Don't claim for that. People say, oh, it's selfish to not have children. How can it be selfish to not bring a life into the world that doesn't exist on any level? It's not as a long sort of cabinet full of potential ghost fetuses going, we want to be born, right?